In the blazing heart of the 12th century, a clash of titans was about to unfold, one that would echo through the annals of history. On one side, the mighty Saladin, Sultan of Egypt and Syria, at the head of a formidable army of over 26,000 seasoned warriors. His goal, the conquest of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. On the other, a boy king, barely 16 years old, his body racked by a terrible illness, but his spirit forged in unyielding steel. This is the story of Baldwin IV, the Leper King, and his incredible stand at the Battle of Montgisard. The year is 1177. Saladin, confident in his overwhelming numbers, marches his Ayyubid army into the Crusader kingdom. He believes the main Crusader force is tied up, besieging a fortress far to the north. He sees the path to the holy city of Jerusalem as wide open, defended by what he assumes are only a few scattered garrisons. His vast force, a sea of colorful banners and gleaming steel, moves with the certainty of victory, plundering the countryside as they advance, a storm gathering on the horizon. But Saladin has made a critical miscalculation. He has underestimated the resolve of his opponent. King Baldwin IV, despite his youth and his debilitating leprosy, which forced him to cover his face and often ride with his hands bandaged, was no weakling. When news of Saladin's invasion reaches him, he doesn't hesitate. He knows he cannot wait for his main army to return. Every moment is critical. Against the advice of many of his counselors, who urged him to take refuge behind the walls of Ascalon, Baldwin makes a bold, almost reckless decision. He will ride out to meet Saladin in open battle. He gathers every available man, a mere 375 knights, including the fearsome Knights Templar, led by their Grand Master Odo of St. Amand and the noble Knights Hospitaller. They are joined by a few thousand infantrymen, a tiny force to face a behemoth, but what they lack in numbers, they possess in faith and sheer courage. Baldwin, a figure of ghostly white atop his warhorse, leads this small, determined army. They march under the banner of the True Cross, a sacred relic believed to be a piece of the cross upon which Christ was crucified. For these men, this is more than a battle for land. It is a holy war, a defense of their very faith and existence. As they march, the young king, unable to hold his own sword, inspires them with his presence alone. His unshakable will becomes their will. Saladin's army, meanwhile, has become stretched out and complacent. Believing the fight was already won, they had dispersed to pillage the towns of Ramla and Lydda. They are caught completely by surprise when Baldwin's tiny force appears on a rise near the hill of Montgisard. The Christian knights, a solid wall of iron and faith, are poised directly between Saladin and his prize, Jerusalem. For a moment, there must have been disbelief in the Ayyubid ranks. How could such a small number of men dare to challenge them? But disbelief quickly turns to alarm. Baldwin wastes no time. He knows his only chance is a swift, devastating charge that shatters the enemy's line before they can regroup their massive numbers. According to chroniclers, the young king dismounts his horse. Prostrating himself before the True Cross, he prays for victory. When he rises, his men roar with devotion. This is their sign. The Grand Master of the Templars, Odo of St. Amand, with his 80 elite knights, forms the vanguard. They are the tip of the spear. Then the order is given. The charge of the Knights of the Kingdom of Jerusalem begins. It is a sight of terrifying beauty. A tidal wave of armored horsemen thundering down the hill, lances lowered, a unified arrowhead aimed at the heart of Saladin's scattered army. They hit the unprepared Ayyubid lines like a thunderbolt. The impact is catastrophic. The sheer momentum and disciplined fury of the Crusader charge smash through the enemy ranks. The Templars, renowned for their ferocity, carve a bloody path through Saladin's personal Mamluk bodyguard, elite soldiers who were thought to be invincible. Confusion and panic erupt. Units that are miles apart are unable to support each other. The Crusader knights, fighting with the desperation of men, protecting their homes and their king, are unstoppable. In the center of the chaos, Saladin himself is nearly captured. He is forced to fight for his life, escaping only by mounting a fast-racing camel and fleeing the battlefield. His army, without its leader and broken by the initial shock, dissolves. What was supposed to be a triumphant march to Jerusalem turns into a desperate, panicked rout. Soldiers throw down their weapons and flee, pursued relentlessly by the victorious knights. The aftermath is staggering. Saladin's army is annihilated. He loses more than 90% of his force, including his elite Mamluk guard. He returns to Egypt with only a fraction of the men he started with, his prestige shattered. The road back is a grueling ordeal, with many of his remaining soldiers perishing from the harsh desert and raids by Bedouins. Back on the field of Montgisard, the young King Baldwin IV stands victorious. At just 16 years of age, ravaged by disease, he has led one of the most improbable victories in the history of the Crusades. He has saved his kingdom from certain destruction. It was a victory so total, so miraculous, that it was attributed to divine intervention. For a brief, shining moment, the Leper King had shown the world that the strength of the will could triumph over the weakness of the flesh, and that even against impossible odds, courage and faith could win the day. The Battle of Montgisard would cement Baldwin IV's legend. It bought the Kingdom of Jerusalem another decade of life, and proved that even a boy king, afflicted and underestimated, could be one of the most formidable commanders of his age. His name, and the memory of that desperate, glorious charge, would be remembered forever. Thank you so much for watching this incredible piece of history with us. If you were as inspired by the courage of Baldwin IV as we are, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of legendary battles and heroic figures. We'll see you in the next one.